So I am going to pull this one out here. It completely shrunk my screen, so I apologize when I connected it to the projector. Here is going to be your concern layout. When you guys turn your computers on in the morning, they will auto start that program for you. So when you guys log in, I went ahead and double clicked on it. It's going to start opening. Can you guys hear me on Zoom? Okay.
Yes, every time you turn your head, we get a little bit of a distant thing, but I think we can cope.
Okay, thank you. It's not going to help this because this microphone is there and that one's over there, so I think we'll be good. Is it okay if I do this, guys? Are you guys okay with me putting this down so I don't get muffled? Okay. No? I'll put it back up. Oh. Okay, so as it's opening, what it's doing when it first opens is it's getting all the most recent information from your database. It's also looking for software updates. It only updates about 4 times a year. It's not something that's going to happen every day, so don't worry. But it does take a long time, not a long time, a little longer time when there's an update for it to open. So Sam, hi Sam. So Sam said there's 2 different computers.
Yeah, on your, if any of you have the touch screens that have Heartland in the lower right corner, those are our newer models. They take just a little over 2 minutes from power up to Mosaic home screen. If you have any of the older models that say asterisk X or asterisk 5, those are our older models. They take about 5 minutes to boot. So best practice is going to be as soon as you come in the morning is to power up your POSs. That way they can also get any Windows updates that might try to sneak in because they were turned off.
So basically when you first come in the morning, turn your computers on. That's it. Turn them on, and then by the time you're doing your thing, clocking in, getting your stuff all going, by the time you come back out, it'll be ready for you. Make sense? All right. So this is the home screen. Oh, I need to make this hide. Let's see. There we go. All right. So this is the home screen. Up here on the left-hand side, you're going to see the username. And on the right-hand side, you have the on-screen keyboard that types your passcode in. As of right now, everybody's passcode is 1234. We are working on getting that changed, so keep your eye out, managers, for emails with new passcodes. We're hoping to get that done by Friday. But as of right now, when you guys want to go into training mode or anything like that, 1234 is your passcode, okay? All right. So all you have to do is click on your name on the left. There's an arrow up and down. I'm just going to use my account here. So all I did is I just clicked on it. I don't have a touch screen, so I have to use my mouse. But obviously with your touch screens, you just touch your name on the left. It auto-populated at the top here. And now all I need to do is put my PIN number in. So like I said, your PIN number currently is 1234. Mine is not. Once you type it in, it will go ahead and log in. There is no cursor that's going to be blinking, waiting for you to type. You just go ahead and type. It knows it wants where you're going to type. And if you have a real keyboard, that will not work. Only the on-screen keyboard will work. Does that make sense? Yeah? Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and hit login. Now it's asking me meal periods. I'm only going to show lunch because from what I was told, you guys are going to continue doing adult entry for breakfast. So that will remain the same. So this will be just for lunch. So that's the one I'm going to go into. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight lunch and hit OK. Now, lunch is set up between 10 and 2. It's obviously after 2, so it's going to be like, what the heck are you doing? Why are you going into lunch? You shouldn't be. So just be prepared. So this is my security login. Yes, I'm logging in as the trainer account. It is lunch, and I'm free. Everything's free. So I'm going to go ahead and hit login. I'm going to refresh my training database. I'm in training mode. So what that means is it's going to be a copy of your live data. So you can actually see kids' names you recognize. But I'm not affecting any of your live data. I'm going to be in training mode. So I'm going to go ahead and refresh that because I did make the changes, Sam, that we talked about today already.
Okay.
Yep. So I selected to go into lunch. Are you sure? Yes. Are you really sure you want to go into lunch? Yes. That only happens when you're out of the normal time frame. But you're turning on the projector. There. I'll go this way. You're welcome. You probably can't see. I'll try and move around, okay? So you're going to get the starting cash screen. You obviously are not having any cash right now because you're not using cash. You're going to keep it as 0, but the screen will remain there because next year if things are still, that go back to the way they were, you may have starting cash back then. So you're going to keep this as 0. So all you have to do here is hit the enter key. It's going to ask me, is 0 correct? You're going to say yes. And now I am in the main screen. So this is your transaction ready screen. That's what we call it. That means you are ready for kids to come up and put PIN numbers in. I, as you see, do not have a PIN pad. So to bring kids up, I have to search for them. You don't have to search for a kid every time. They will obviously put their PIN numbers in like before, and it will come back up. Now, we are all aware that everybody's getting new PIN numbers. Yes? So I highly recommend to my managers, find somebody, give them a pad of Post-it notes and your roster list, which I'll show you how to print when we get to the manager section of this, and have somebody near your lines with Post-it notes and the list. Because if the kids, they're not going to bring their PIN numbers. We know it, right? They're not going to bring the letters. We want them to. They're not going to. So have somebody there to make it so that by the time it gets to the cashier, they have their number and it can smoothly go through. Make sense? All right. So at the top here, it tells me I am online. That's this green checkbox at the top here. So what that means up at the top left is my internet is good. So your WebSmart was based on your servers. It was saved in your environment, so it needed your network to work. With Mosaic, it's cloud-based, that buzzword everybody uses. All that means is we put it on our servers and you access that through the internet. That's all it really means. So this means you have a good internet connection and it's talking to your database. If it ever looks like this, it's going to let me. And it's not going to let me today. If it looks like a red circle with a line through it, that means you're offline. And does that mean you can serve? Absolutely, you can still serve. Usually I would say just know that the balances may not be the most accurate, but right now that doesn't matter because everything that you guys are serving through the point of sale is at no charge. But just know if there's a new kid and they're not in your system, it could be because you're offline and it hasn't gotten that new kid in the system yet. Make sense? So you can still serve even if you don't have internet. The next one, it shows you which terminal you're logged into and who you're logged in at. So I'm logged into the trainer account. Yes, look at you. Why are you so fancy? All right, so right here is the server line number and then the trainer account. That's who I'm logged in as. That's why I chose to be. I'm also lunch. There's not much I can say about it. It's lunch. You're at lunch. That's the one you guys will be seeing. This little envelope is if they're the people in central office can send you guys messages. You cannot respond to the messages. It's not like an email or a chat message. It's just something for you to acknowledge. Maybe they're telling you, hey, I added this kid in, refresh your data so that you can serve him at the line. I don't know, something like that. If that is blinking red, you click on it, acknowledge the message, and then move on. This right here, and you can't tell because it's under my toolbar, that's your date and time. It's taken from your computer, so as long as your computer date and time is correct, then the date and time on your serving line is correct. Make sense? If it's not correct, reboot. That's what I would do. The lock here, that's if you walk away from your computer. So if you guys have one of the POS setups where it's kind of in the middle of your cafeteria and you don't want the kids touching it, just hit that lock symbol and it will lock the computer like a screensaver. So that way if the kids touch it, it just goes to the password screen and you just type your password in to get back in. Now I'm back at the home screen. Make sense so far? Yes? All right. So the next thing is, it looks like a power button and an X. Those get you out of the program. So you don't have to worry about those until you're done serving. I'll show you what happens. If you get click happy like I do sometimes, and you hit the X, it'll come up and say, are you sure you want to log out? If you have a line of students in front of you and you are still serving, your answer to that question is no. What are you going to hit? You're probably going to hit yes. It's fine. But if you hit yes, you just log back in and then you can serve. But now you're making those kids wait longer in line and it's going to take longer. So if you ever see this message because you're going to click happy and you X too many times, just hit no and it'll take you right back to that normal transaction ready screen. Good? All right. The next area where it says name, grade, homeroom, this is different ways you can search for a student. So and doesn't know their PIN number, you can find them through searching by name. So I'm going to go ahead and go into name. On the left-hand side here, Are all the names alphabetical by last name? I have this lovely button right here that says first name. So as we know, if any of you are from elementary school, sometimes high school, they don't know their last name. So you can search by their first. Sometimes they don't know their first name, or they give you their nickname, whatever they do. But so you can try searching by first name. If I hit first name, you'll notice it alphabetized it right away by first name. Does this mean, Kim, I have to scroll until I get to the W's? Absolutely not. Just hit the W on the keyboard, and you'll get right to the W. You don't have to type the whole thing out. It's really nice because I don't know how to spell anybody's name. So when they tell me their name, I just guess by the first letter, maybe the second I'll try and guess. And at least you can get a list of them here and get kind of close to it. Once you find who you're looking for, you just go ahead and click on them. And then you hit the enter key. So this is what your main looks like. Obviously, you guys are not selling all the stuff right now, so you're testing meals. That's why it's test meal on there. So all you have to do is hit that lunch combo button and then hit finish. That's it. That's all you're going to be doing. So the kids automatically bring that screen up. You'll hit lunch combo and finish. That's it. You're going to be hitting that all day long. You're going to get bored. You're going to do it blindfolded. Lunch, finish, lunch, finish, lunch, finish. That's all you're going to be doing. So I'm going to do it again. I'm going to go into name. I'm going to bring up somebody. I'm going to hit lunch and hit finish. Does that make sense? Not close at all. It'll be quick. The quicker the kids start knowing whoever's going live next week, it's going to be slow, guys. The kids aren't going to know the number. They're going to go to a pin pad and go, what do I do? They're not going to know they have to hit enter. It's going to be slow the first day. The next day it'll be a little faster. The next day a little bit faster. So it will get faster by the end of the week. And I will be here all week next week. So I'm going to go ahead and pull somebody else up. So this screen here, let's talk about this screen. So up here tells you the right team number. It doesn't matter to you guys right now because you're not doing anything with money. Tender keys, you won't have to touch anything up there because you're not doing anything with money. And then, of course, your menu board. Fast forward to August, this will have a lot more options. Right now, we're just starting simple with just your lunch and then finish. That's the only thing you have to worry about on this screen. So lunch and finish. So I know you guys are doing the ticks right now, and there's probably a ton of times that you're probably selling kids one-on-one meals. And I'm not supposed to be, but because you're doing bulk entry, it's very hard to keep track of who's doing what. So let's say this student here, Michelle, came through the line a second time. When you go to hit that meal button, it's going to say this. Do you wish to sell an extra meal? Sam, this is all yours.
And your answer to this question will be no. So if this pops up, you're going to answer no, and you're all going to have this 10 number duplicate use log that you're going to have up at the register, and you're going to go ahead and pull down the student's last name, first name on here, and then you're going to go ahead and just write a little comment here. Well, the comment is actually going to be filled in a little bit more after us once we do some research. But cashiers will complete this. They will then turn this into their manager, and their manager is going to do some research from the back and try to figure out if this is legitimate or not. The student barcode has been compromised. Okay?
Awesome. Thank you, Sam. So if you're not selling a meal, how do you get out of this screen? Well, you can't tell because my toolbar's in the way. This one. There is an X at the top right here. So I'm just going to hit the X at the top right. I'm going to say yes to exit this transaction. And now I'm back to the transaction ready screen. Good so far? Yes. So,
we're going to talk about that later on. You will be able to change PIN numbers, but we don't want any PIN numbers being changed because right now the students are just starting to learn what's coming out. And the last thing that we want to do, and what we're trying to do with that investigation, you're going to be looking into that transaction to see if that PIN number was used hours before or just 2 minutes before, 10 minutes before it was going up a second time to try to determine, is it a mistake? We have all our students starting to come through the line, and they haven't used PIN numbers, used POS systems in over 2 years. So we're not changing just yet. We're going to set parameters as to when we're going to start changing the PIN number. But you will be able to put notations in the student's account if you see that maybe about the second day, after the second day, the same thing keeps happening.
Awesome. Thank you, Sam. All right. So everybody good with how to serve a kid? Makes sense? All right. So the next thing would be is with your pin pads, the kids have 2 chances to put their number in correctly. What'll happen the first time is they'll put their number in, and if it's incorrect, it'll say on the actual pin pad, invalid ID. They try again. You'll hear a little beep too, but I know cafeterias are loud, so you guys probably won't hear the little weird beep that'll come out. But then it'll say, they'll try it again. So let's say they put it in wrong again. It'll say on the screen of the pin pad, see cashier, and you guys will get a message that looks like this. So it says, you want to search the district. So in the brackets, it will show you whatever number the student put in. So what I would say is, what number were you typing in to them? And they'll say it to you. And you'll be like, that's not even close to what's in the brackets. Try again. So the second question you ask is, do you go to this school? Sometimes, I know in some instances you have kids who come and eat from other schools at your school, whether it be a field trip of some sort or a moving up day or something like that, where they're coming and they're eating at your school. If it truly is a kid, it's their ID number, but they're coming from one of your other schools in your district, you can actually click yes, and it will bring that student up, and you'll be able to serve them a meal. It'll be obnoxiously highlighted yellow, and it'll say visiting students so that you know you're feeding a kid from a different building that's not your home building, but it will allow you to serve them, okay? Does this make sense? If it's the kid just put it in wrong, you just click no, and then have them try again. I would give them one more shot, and that's it. And then I'd be like, just give me your name, because you're going to be sitting there for an hour for the kid to try and figure out the PIN number. So if you get that message and you see this left button on the left, it says left, blinking it's like a yellow orangey color, that means it paused your queue. So what that means is if another kid was to put their number in, it's not going to make that kid come forward and that screen come up for you to feed that kid, because you're still trying to deal with the kid who put his number in wrong. So once you search for the student or you haven't put his number in, all you have to do is then hit the left button, and that'll restart your queue and the kids will start popping up again. It's an automatic safety put on so that more kids don't keep putting their numbers in and you're still trying to deal with that kid in front of you and all these people are popping up. So basically, if you ever see left blinking, click on it. It means there's a kid sitting there waiting to be served. And it'll only happen when that kid puts their number in wrong the first time or second time. Questions? So far, so good? Yes. No, the PIN numbers are completely random, are they? So like another kid no, they randomly generate them. There's no starting money numbers that are the same for people or anything. It's completely randomly generated. But your job as a cashier is to confirm that's who's in front of you. If you were being audited and had one of your auditors standing there and you didn't confirm who's in front of you, that's something you'd get dinged on. So that is something you should be doing, is saying their first name, Charlie, Joe, whatever, just to confirm who it is in front of you. That should help, at least. Good? So far? All right. So the next situation that can happen is a kid who's not in the system yet. They're registered brand new that day and they haven't been put in the system. How are you going to serve them? So this is kind of a new way of doing it for you guys. So we have this button called No ID right here, the No ID button. So I'm going to go ahead and click No ID. I'm going to hit that lunch, and it's going to ask me what kind of meal are you selling? And you're selling a number 1. That's free. 1 is free. So you're selling a number 1. So I'm going to go ahead and click 1 and hit OK. It's then going to force you to put a name associated with that meal. So I'm going to go ahead and put a name in. So we have a celebrity eating with us today. So I'm gonna go sit next to him. So don't worry. So she hasn't taken company because he looks lonely. So you just put the name in and then you just hit finish. Make sense? Print for you. We'll have all those names print. We'll print out on that note on that edit check sheet. You'll see them all. I'm going to show it one more time. So we're going to go under no ID. We're going to hit the lunch combo. We're going to hit the number 1. And who's going to eat with us now? My other friend. Oops, I can't spell. We'll just see Justin T. We all know who that is. So we have the name up here. All I got to do is hit finish. Does that make sense for kids who are coming in, not in the system? Do your best with spelling. Again, as I know, nobody knows their name, apparently, these days. So do as best as you can with the spelling. All right. This keypad here, if for some reason something happens to the pin pad, if you steal something or something, the pin pad on the screen works. You just type a couple letters and then hit enter and it'll bring that student up. If you type it wrong, that's what the clear button is for. Or this little arrow with an X is like backspace. Make sense? All right, and the last one I'm going to show you on the screen is the serving totals. This just shows you what you served. You can also search by grade or homeroom. So if you know, especially elementary, you know somebody's homeroom's in it, and you want to search the kids in that homeroom, you can choose homeroom, choose that person's name, and it'll give you a list of all the kids in the homeroom. So it's a smaller list you're searching instead of the whole school. So you just pick again from that list and hit enter and serve them. Is there anything I missed? Yes. All right. Any questions for you guys that you thought I was showing and I didn't? Oh, one piece of note, there's nothing that the manager has to do for you to be able to do your caching. So there's no, they don't have to open the lunch or breakfast period, right? That used to do that web start. Yeah, you don't have to, there's nothing the manager has to do. You as a cashier can just log in and start serving. There's nothing nobody has to do to make that happen. Also, if you close out a lunch and you realize there was extra bell and you thought you were done, but you still have another group of kids, you can just go right back into lunch. Okay? Nothing magic has to happen. So I'm going to close out. Anybody want to see anything again? Yes. What did he say? Sorry. Yes, it'll say sell an extra meal, and that's their flag that somebody's already come through the line with that number. Yes. Yep. Any other questions before I show the closeout? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and close out. So I'm going to hit the X at the top, and I no longer have kids in front of me. So what am I going to say to this prompt? I'm going to say yes. Do I wish to close lunch? Yes. So you guys are not taking money for it? If it's not, and there's red, somebody told the system somebody took money. So this is going to be the last one you get is complete closes your lunch. That is the final button you hit as a cashier. Managers, once your cashiers all do that with their stuff, is your stuff.
No follow-up questions?
Money. You would probably need to do that transaction.
Your manager can do it in the back
The
office.
manager has to do it on the back end, cashier can't do it on their.
Yep. Most you guys learned that stuff in August. Okay.
Anybody else? Any follow-up questions?
Seems pretty easy. Yeah. All right. Okay. Yay!
All right.